This is Patrick McCarthy reporting for Tri-Cities Community Television in the downtown Port Coquitlam studios. Today we're with local writer Angela Crocker, who writes a series of books on, well, self-help books around social media and social media content. Angela, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yeah, we've got the book here for everybody to see, which is great. It's always, as I guess, a writer to see your stuff sort of propped up on some table somewhere, and for people to see on TV or
very exciting
at your house, I guess, if it popped by.
On TV, at the house, in a bookstore, anywhere, even online. It's really fun to stumble across it.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the book?
Of course. I'm a writer, an author, information organizer, an instructor. I do a lot of public speaking and private workshops. I do a lot of in one-on-one interaction with business owners, generally entrepreneurs who are starting out or small business owners. Occasionally I'll go into the communications department of a larger organization and work with them. And what we're doing is looking at how they're building their online community, which often ties into what content they're creating, how they're building meaningful relationships with their audience, which is in turn their customer, and how they're going to engage with that customer and actually have a dialogue that is meaningful and useful to both the business owner and to the person buying the product or service.
Yeah, and a good thing about your book, I mean, social media obviously is a topic that everybody is engaged in, either passively, you have your Facebook, but you're really talking about taking that approach and organizing it and presenting a voice or a message or content that is resonating with, I guess, the tribe, as you call it. So,
yes.
So tell us a little bit about this thing called the tribe.
The tribe. Well, the tribe is another word for community or your inner group, and it can be a very small group. It can be a very large group, depending on the topic that you are the expert on, depending on what you're learning and talking about. There may only be 100 people in the world who are equally interested. That could be a special artisan. We're in an artist studio today. It could be people working with a particular medium in a particular way. Or it could be a very large group of 100,000 people or more who are interested in, say, marketing, like I am. And so through the content planner, what I've done is created a guide. It is a workbook where people can actually go through step by step. It's a 7-step cycle, taking them through from the notion that they want to publish, that they want to create some content for a website, a blog, an email newsletter, even social media. And then working through those steps, they create meaningful content for the right audience.
Yeah, and I guess this desire for people to, I guess, have a voice is, I mean, we see it all the time, whether it's just your small tribe, you're saying, like your family and friends, or it could be an extension of your career, it could be an extension of your business. So the tribe could be anywhere in the world, 20 people in 20 world locations.
Absolutely.
And that's your tribe.
The technology is so accessible now. 1.7, 1.8 billion people are on Facebook. It's just a matter of moments to create a blog or a website using tools like WordPress, which is the one I use the most often. So anybody can be a publisher and have a voice online, have a place to say what's important to them, what's their opinion, what information are they expert in, what do they want to share with the world.
So obviously you teach something called, I guess, social media camp. I mean, I was surprised, you got science camp, but now you got social media camp. So I guess it's, can you explain a little bit what that is about?
Social Media Camp is actually a conference that I speak at regularly. It's put on by Paul Holmes and Chris Burge in Victoria every May. This year will be the 8th annual. And what Social Media Camp does is bring together experts and people working in the field of marketing, technology, communications, social media, and put on a 2 or 3 day event where we are learning, where there's speakers like myself, there's workshops, and there's also the connected bits in between, the lunches, the coffee times, the downtime in between on the trade show floor, where people are connecting and really learning from each other about best practices. In my case, I'm there talking about content creation, and there's a wide range of related topics, from the technology people might use to marketing strategies to, well, who knows, there's all sorts of things. It varies every year.
Yeah, and so how do people measure success? I mean, in your mind, I'm about to, go into an online kind of organized process. Like, how do you coach me into what is success for me?
For me, success is when you have engagement with your content, when people are responding to it, and that might be a thumbs up, response on Facebook, it might be a comment on your YouTube channel, it might be a reply to an email newsletter. That engagement is very much what is going to drive our society now. The process of having an online and offline life separately just don't exist anymore. We live an integrated life, and I'm very much an advocate for the idea that it is integrated. I can have my mobile phone and use that to talk with my father in text messages just as easily as I can use that to talk to a client by telephone or through Skype or through some other tool.
Yeah, so you talked about that offline. So to you, that's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing here.
Offline.
Yeah.
So really, you got to balance your online with your offline. Is it you're the same person, or you're the same?
I actually don't use the word balance. I don't mean to correct you. I take a different tack to it. I think there's a lot of content that's been created around the notion of life balance. Work-life balance is often a phrase that's bandied about. And I think we all get to make choices. And we need to integrate the things that are important to us or necessary to us into the life that we lead. And some of that's going to be face-to-face, as we're doing now. But this conversation we're starting today, very likely you and I will continue it in an online environment in the months and years ahead. And that is an exciting part of what's possible now with technology, that we can have a community, a tribe, as we talked about, that allows us to come together and keep a conversation going when it's not always possible to get together face-to-face and talk in real time.
And for us, even with Tri-Cities TV, we have lots of tools that we try, the app of the moment, to kind of help us be organized. So what process would you suggest to people when they're trying to look at apps or looking at tools to make them more efficient in this kind of management part of their social media?
There's lots of ways to approach it. My method is to try something out. I'm an iPad user, and I actually have a folder on my iPad that is apps I am testing. The folder's just called testing, and when I have some time, I spend time logging into those apps and trying them out, seeing what works. I'll talk to other people about what technology tools they're using. Just the other day, I was talking with Barbara Pender, who's a social media marketing expert in Florida, and Barbara, just in passing, mentioned something called a Diva Light, which I had never heard of. So I went on Amazon, and sure enough, you can buy a Diva Light, which you clamp onto your mobile phone or your tablet when you're out and about, and it gives your face a little bit of extra light in dark environments for when you're doing a selfie or a Facebook Live video. So some of it's about talking with people about what works, and sometimes it's about trial and error. And yeah, I'd spend some money on tools that are duds that sit in the back of the closet in my office, and that's okay. Maybe one day they'll be useful. And
how do you, we all see the like and the smiley and stuff, but how do you really get true? It's like being an actor or an actress. Your parents love you and the critics hate you. So how do you balance that true feedback from your audience?
Well, I think you have to take every compliment as though it's well intended, but if it's not, or it seems a little over the top, my grandmother's phrase would be to take it with a grain of salt. So for every nice thing that's said, probably there's some critique that's come from it as well. And of course, there are lots of people that like to spend their time on the internet offering at its nicest, it's constructive criticism, and it may actually boil down into bullying or trolling or some of those really negative behaviors that one would hope wouldn't happen, but unfortunately you get the full spectrum of society in digital environments just like you do in real life.
So you have a thick skin and probably find people that you trust to give you
Absolutely.
Lots of thumbs up are great, but if your mom gives you a thumbs up, it's probably...
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too, but the fact she operates it is amazing. So there's a lot of pressure. Obviously people have their own personal, online social media profile, but for this is taking it to another level. And the question is why bother? What personal, look in the mirror moment do I have to take before I engage this process?
I hear this question a lot, along the lines of why bother, and it's important, I think, to make decisions about what technology, what social tools you're going to use as an individual. I know people who don't use any social tools, not many, but some, and that's a conscious choice to not be part of those conversations. But if you are going to bother, I offer 3 words as advice on a regular basis. I ask people to create content about what they love, move those ideas around, and so those 3 words, create, love, and move, are really the anchor of anything that you do online. If you follow that, then the why bother is very natural because you're passionate about what you're doing. You're in the process of creation of whether it's photos or text or video or whatever you're doing. And only when you move those ideas around by sharing them on social media or publishing them to an email newsletter does an audience get to see that information. And then that's the why bother part. You suddenly have an audience that's interested in talking to you about what you're passionate about too.
Yeah, you use the word passion because the last thing I think you need stamina. Like sometimes you start out on this process, and I guess you, like anything, you have to reinvent yourself as you go,
Totally.
and say, you know, it's okay to say, you know, maybe I got the wrong tribe. So there is, I guess you can stop.
You
or
can
adjust.
stop, and more often people evolve. I've been on the internet since 1994. Started my first website in cooperation with my husband in 1998. That's a lot of years of evolution of what the technology is what's possible, what can we do. And over time you gain experience, you figure out what works, you do certain things, you let other things go. And it's okay. I really want to give everyone permission to take what I call imperfect action. Sometimes you have to try something, and if it doesn't work, well, it's not the end of the world. It's a YouTube channel. Like, okay, we've all got some dud videos out there, and or we've learned more about lighting and more about sound quality and more about what to say and how to talk, what to wear. You know, there's lots of videos out there that don't have great production values, but they have great content, and they get better at production values. And the reverse is true too. There's some that don't have anything meaningful that they're saying, but they're sure flashy, and they've got great graphics and super slides in what they're publishing. So that imperfect action allows people to experiment and try things and eventually find their groove.
All those things you talked about sound like our production meeting at Tri-Cities TV. We're always improving all those things and being very critical.
I'm happy
and
to be part of it.
we're always fighting against the kitten with the ball in someone's bathtub or something. So,
yes.
But we love those kitten shows for sure. So the last thing I want to say, you know, the book has got lots of material in the back of sort of the process. It's all paper based, but it is sort of a mental process you go through to kind of evaluate what you're doing and sort of go through those multiple steps that you've got there. So I found them, you know, even if you skip them, even to sort of mentally say, okay, that's something I should be aware of,
right?
Even though I skipped it. And I think it's really great how you talk about managing your schedule. About, you know, that's I call it life balance, but you call it a schedule. But
either way.
So is there any, you know, you've given the sort of, we're meeting for the first time in a coffee shop. Is there anything that you'd like to pass on to everybody before you?
I would encourage you to start with whatever content you might be creating by thinking about why you're doing it. Get really clear on why you're doing it, and then get really clear on who you're doing it for. Creating content is about being of service to your audience, and that might be your customers if it's a business context. It might be the people who need your expertise if you are an expert with a capital E sharing your knowledge. But if you know why you're creating the content and you know who your audience is and why they need that content, and then you create content to serve them well, if you come from a place of service, everything you create is going to be very useful and very well received.
Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the book. The read was very, it was awakening, I think. I think I was skipping a lot of steps, so I thank you for that for sure.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Again, this is Patrick McCarthy reporting for Tri-Cities Community Television. If you're looking to go online and become an expert in something, check out Angela's book. She's a Tri-Cities writer, definitely worth the read, and thank you very much.